Good day, students. Today we are going to see about memory leak and its example. Afterwards, we will look into invalid pointer references and then C tokens, type system and type checking, and the concept of binding. So these are the concepts today we are going to discuss. Okay. So this comes under unit 2, and I have shared the theoretical content in the WhatsApp group, so kindly check that content. Memory leak. So the name itself reveals that the memory is leaking somewhere. Okay. So the memory leak occurs when a piece of memory which was previously allocated by the programmer, then it is not deallocated properly by that particular programmer. Okay, that memory is no longer in use by that program, so that place is reserved for no reason. That is why this is called the memory leak. Okay, a programmer assigns a portion of memory to a variable and he forgets to deallocate the occupied memory in a proper way. So that memory is allocated and it's not going to be useful for the rest of its life. So that's called memory leak. Okay. So here some block of memory may be wasted, right? If the system has enough memory, in that case also this may slow down the performance, right? So if we are having lot of unwanted memory spaces in our hard disk, what we do, we usually delete it. Okay, but some things have been occupied your memory, but you cannot um, uh, find so what's been occupied, right? So that's the case, right? You cannot delete it in a easiest way, right? You need to consider the purpose of storing that content, then only you can delete it. So if you are having lot of memory space in C drive, right? So there is no problem. Okay, there is no problem if there is so much space in C colon, but if there is little memory in C colon, then your system performance will get slowed down. Okay, the same thing, the program, like lot of programs, if you consider, right, if you consider a artificial intelligence database or big data, then there may be an issue for having this kind of unwanted memories. Okay, memory is equal to money. So this is an example. So there is a pointer named as data, and the problem is this pointer is not deleted and the memory is wasted here. Okay, we don't have much code here. This is called snippet, 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 part of the program. Okay, so void my function, this is a function. Inside that function we are having data as a pointer with a integer as a variable, integer as a data type. So star data, it holds 50. Okay, but the memory is wasted over here because it is not deallocated. So to deallocate automatically, we are having auto keyword. Auto is a storage class or keyword in C programming language, which is used to declare a local variable. So in the previous class, I think when I don't have the laptop at that time, I shared few ideas about local global variables. right? So local variable means the variable which can be accessed only within the function. Okay, afterwards the variable space will be deleted, but inheriting this auto keyword, we are releasing the occupied memory space in automated way. Okay, that's the difference. Memory is allocated to the variable automatically on entering the function and is freed on leaving the function. Okay, if auto is allocated to a function or variable, then what it does is the memory is allocated while the function is started. After leaving that function, the allocated memory will be released. Okay, so we are having an example program, and you can use this link to open the online C compiler. Okay, and I am having coding here itself, right? I think okay, here, right? Here we are having the code, so we are just copying this program and we are going to paste it over here. So we paste the C program and we are running it. So it shows my function, right? My function, main function, right? So what it does is it deletes the variable. Okay, as well as, right, here it's a function. We can use this auto keyword for function or variable. Now the function, right, the function is having the auto keyword. So here, right, here we are declaring the my function as a auto. Here we are calling the my function. Okay, what it does is it goes here for the definition part and it prints the my function. So it printed over here. Next it come back and this statement will be executed. After that it moves to this part and this statement will be executed and it print done. Okay, so in this way this program is executed. So you can't explicitly understand what's been happening here, but the thing is, in the memory itself the auto keyword works. Okay, so we cannot see explicitly in our eyes, but the auto keyword does its job in its own way. Okay, so these are the external links you can use later.
So the next one is invalid pointer references. So we have already discussed about pointers. What is mean by pointer? Pointer is a special variable which holds address of another variable. That means a pointer can hold address of another one's variable. Okay. An invalid pointer reference occurs when a pointer's value is referenced even though the pointer doesn't point to a valid block. Okay, so say for an example there are two variables, one is not initialized. Okay, and the uninitialized variable is tried to assign its value to another variable. Okay, now the pointer, right, doesn't have any value because already the previous variable is not initialized at all. Here you can see an example p equal to q is doesn't have any values. Okay, so now the p is an invalid pointer reference. Okay, q is uninitialized and p becomes invalid pointer reference. So the only way to avoid this bug is to draw pictures of each step of the program. Okay, we need to do manual pictures of each step of the program so that we can know whether the variables are initialized or not. Okay, so that this kind of bugs will be avoided. Invalid pointer references cause a program to crash inexplicably. Okay, so it makes crashes, that's it, right? So this is one of the main concept in C. So this is an external link. So the next one is C tokens. So C tokens are the smallest building block or smallest unit of a C program. It can be a variable, it can be a constant, it can be an operator, it can be anything in a program. Okay, this is the smallest individual unit in a particular program. Okay, so that's called tokens. The compiler breaks a program into the smallest possible units and proceeds to the various stages of the compilation, which is called token. Okay, so the compiler itself breaks the program into very small units. Okay, these units are called tokens. So there are 6 tokens in C. First one is keyword, the next one is constants, third one is identifier, fourth one is string, fifth one is special symbols, and the last one is operators. Keyword means built-in keywords. Do, while, for, void, right? So these are the keywords. sqrt, square root, right? Those are all keywords. Constants means the value doesn't change at all. Identifier means variable. We are setting up a variable with a data type assigning to it. The next one is string. So characters combination is said to be string, and we are having special symbols like parenthesis, comma, flower braces, caps, percentage, right? This can be said as modulo too, right? So it can be percentage or modulo. Operators, plus, minus, divide, asterisk, right? So operations on the operand. Type system and type checking, this is the next one. So you don't have the concept called tokens in your syllabus, but before getting into the type system and type checking, we need to know about the tokens. Okay, so what is meant by type system? It is a logical system comprising a set of rules that assigns a property called a type to the various constructs of a computer program, such as variables, expressions, functions, or modules. Okay, actually Usually everyone thinks type means data type, but here we are assigning a property, okay, which is actually a set of rules, and we are creating a systematic way of providing the property to variable or expressions, functions or modules, right? Whatever may be inside a program, each and everything has some syntax. Okay, syntax means logical way or general form. Okay, we are providing a generalized form, and there is a rules to avoid the bugs. That is called type system. So the main purpose of a type system is to reduce possibilities for bugs in computer programs by defining interfaces between different parts of a computer program. So interfaces means providing rules to the entire part of the program so that there won't be any errors. So what is the actual purpose? It will check that the parts have been connected in a consistent way. Okay, if a statement is wrong, it will show errors. So this kind of checking can happen statically. Okay, statically, which means compile time. When the compilation begins, if there is errors, the compiler shows the list of errors, and the checking can be done at runtime, or it can be a combination of both compile time and at runtime. So this is the way to avoid the bugs. Actually we are having exception handling to handle the runtime errors. So if we took these two as a single unit, type system provides rules and type checking checks whether the rules have been followed in the program or not. Okay, so in the future programs like .NET, there is an intermediate language called Microsoft Intermediate Language, which has type system. Okay, Common Type System, CTS. So each and everything becomes type. Even object become type, variable become type, expression become type, function become type. Everything becomes type in .NET, as same as it is. Each and every program need to follow this type system to avoid the bugs. The next one is concept of binding. In the previous class itself, we have discussed about L value, R value. Actually, that is the first two words which is coming under the unit 2. The L value of a variable is its address, and the R value of a variable will be its value. Okay, L value address, R value will be a value. A binding is an association such as between an attribute and an entity, or between an operation and a symbol, right? A plus B. So the operation is addition between A and B. Here attribute means parameter, entity means object. The object needs to get access to the attributes inside the class. Okay, that is called binding. So binding time is the time at which a binding takes place. Okay, binding time is the time at which a binding takes place. So possible binding times. There are 5 possible ways to get binding. Language design time. So if you look at the example, the asterisk symbol, right, it already set as a multiplication operation. Okay, so bind operator symbols to operations. Okay, this is compiler designing time. Okay, CD time, compiler designing time. The next one is language implementation time. A data type such as int in C is bound to a range of possible values. Any data type, okay, you can take any data type. Lot of data types, new kind of data types are not available in C. In PHP, Python, or you don't have to specify the data type because the compiler is designed in that way. So according to the value assigning to the variable gets its data type. Okay, but in the programming languages like C, C++ or Java, during the compiler designing time itself, they need to provide set of rules to provide a meaningful content to the int. Okay, so it's not only integer or variable, right? It can be anything, right? Anything here refers to built-in keywords. Okay, so the previously we are providing symbols, here we are providing built-in keywords. The next one is compile time. Okay, so compile time means after the coding part is done, we will compile it. We will find some errors to run the program. So that time is called compilation time. Bind a variable to a particular data type at compile time. Int a equal to 10, right? Here a will be set as a variable with a data type integer. The next one is load time or loading time. Bind a variable to a memory cell. So after getting initialized, the stored value needs to be somewhere in the memory. So that's called loading time. And the last one is runtime. Bind a non-static local variable to a memory cell. Previously this is like int a equal to 10, okay, static variables, but here it becomes non-static local variable, which means the value is assigned at the runtime only, not at the program level. The value will be given in the runtime by the user or the programmer, so that the binding takes place at the runtime. Okay, and the value needs to be in a memory cell. Okay, so by this we can end this session. I hope this video is useful to you. If you have any doubts, you can comment on this video itself using the comment section. Otherwise, you can send me your doubts to WhatsApp. Thank you all. See you in the next video. Bye.